Yo, what is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 78 of our Tracksuit to the Top series here with Lewis FC in the Premier League. Hopefully you guys are good. Today I've got for you a live com against 4th place Manchester, well actually no, 3rd place Manchester City, we're 4th. Big game. Hopefully we can get a good result. This is going to be the second to last episode of the season. This one could determine if we can possibly get top 3, which would be one hell of an achievement. But first, let's have a quick look at the fixtures since the last episode. So looking at it here, you can see, obviously, last episode we did lose against Fenerbahce in the second round of the Europa League. Since then, we've bounced back very well. We started off with a 4-1 win against Leicester. Good goals here, Manuel Jesus, Matthew Lewis and Suarez with the goals. Suarez, good to see him getting a few goals. You know, he struggled this year, but he's slowly picking up some form, but certainly not a £20 million player just yet. But that was a good result nevertheless. The next result was a 3-1 away win against Norwich, and looking at it, usual suspects, same players scored. Matthew Lewis, Manuel Jesus and Joe Allen with the goals for us in this game. 2 late goals for us really, coming in the last 11 minutes, secured the win. All in all, good performance, good result away from home. Norwich made it tricky, but we were clinical in our chances and we took them. Anyway, last result was against Nottingham Forest, and 2 penalties in this game defined it really. Matthew Lewis grabbing 2 goals and the man of the match award in a game that we did dominate but failed to create too many clear-cut chances besides the 2 penalties. So anyway, as you can see here, Matthew Lewis, another cap for England, but he's just continued his goal-scoring form. He's now scored 33 in 32 league games with 46 goals in 45 appearances in all competitions. It'd be absolutely crazy if he could hit 50 goals for the year. That would just be ludicrous. Anyway, looking elsewhere in our squad, Juan Carlos Leon is injured again. Yay, party. Twisted ankle this time. So he broke it once, now he's twisted it. So he's out for 2 to 3 weeks, which is a massive issue. Suarez as well, out with a groin strain. Obviously, he too had a long-term injury dislocating his shoulder, so to have that come back up is a bit of an issue. Anyway, looking at our team, I've not really done a little bit of a squad rundown in a while, so I'm just going to cover a few players and how they've done this year so far. So Kouakou in goal, obviously he went to the African Cup of Nations, he's come back, been a very good player for us this year. Only 5 clean sheets in 28 league games, but a 7.03 average rating really indicates that yes, he has contributed and he has kind of saved our asses a few times. A right back, Gaston Romero, a player who I signed this year from Castilla, obviously Real Madrid's second team. He's done okay for us. He's got a 7.02 rating. He joined us for £2.6 million. It was a ridiculously cheap transfer at the time. He isn't an incredible player by any means, but he certainly kind of plugged a hole that was left by Paul Dorothy joining Manchester United for, I think it worked out at £18 million. Wright Myers had a good year at centre-back. The Germans continuing to improve, which is really pleasing. Of course, he joined us last January, put in a few good performances last year. This year, 24 appearances for us and a 7.16 average rating for a 20-year-old is very, very impressive. Insua's joined us on loan. He's got a few key goals for us, but I don't think I'm going to be extending his loan just because he's old and you know, he's going to have ridiculous wage demands if I was to sign him. Mafembu's had a good year, obviously joined us from Benfica, can play either full-back position. He joined us for quite a hefty loan fee, really. He's only ever been a backup, really, at the left-back and right-back positions, but you can see he's not performed great even when he's played there. Looking higher up the park, the key midfielders for us this year have really been, well, Sonogo primarily, even though he's not played so much this year because of his injuries, and when he has played, he's not been that great. Joe Allen's really been a standout performer this year, which is kind of a surprise for the 33-year-old. Of course, joined us a few years ago on a free. Didn't have the best 2 years at the club, and I was kind of seeing him as perhaps a player who wouldn't be around maybe, you know, next year. I didn't think he'd be part of the squad, but he's done well for us. 11 assists, 3 goals in 21. Elsewhere, if we just look at the appearances, you can see obviously Matthew Lewis making a load of appearances. Juan Carlos Leon, despite his injuries, when he has been fit, has featured heavily in the first team. He's got an incredible average rating of 7.43, easily the highest, I believe, of any of our midfielders. But obviously the injuries have hit him hard, and it has meant that he's not been in the first team to kind of have a real kind of consistent effect on the team. He's been in and out. When he's not played, we've definitely lacked something. When he's been fit, it's been fantastic. Pedrera as well, another player I've not talked about too much, but the young Argentine, of course, playing in the Argentine first team with 8 appearances. So far at the age of 19, which is crazy. He's done well for us. He's not contributed massively going forward, but he's just been very, very consistent. You can see here 80% pass completion is pretty good for a centre-back, averaging 10 tackles a game. That's impressive, and he's still young and he's still improving. But anyway, that's a little bit about the squad rundown. In terms of our system, you guys know the drill, I feel like. I haven't shown the team instructions in a while, but it's pretty simple. It's higher tempo, exploit middle, low crosses, playing a flexible attacking formation. There are a few player instructions here and there. There's nothing too crazy, just the centre-back set, or rather full-back set to stay wider, centre defensive mid set to shoot less often. Both wider midfielders asked to run wide and move into the channels. And yeah, there's just a few little instructions, but there's nothing kind of revolutionary here. But anyway, let's get into today's game. It's against Manchester City with 6 games remaining in the league. We're 8 points ahead of Liverpool. We're chasing Manchester United potentially, although they do have a game in hand. It looks like the title is really going to be battled out between them and Chelsea. But a win here would see us leapfrog Manchester City and go into 3rd place, which would be very pleasing. And with 5 games left, we'd be in a very, very good position. But anyway, looking at our team for today's game, we've got a few injuries to speak of, which is a little bit of a shame. Obviously, don't want to have injuries to contend with, but it's been something that's kind of plagued our season this year, and I guess disappointing. Disappointing is certainly one word for it. But to be honest, we've performed well. Matthew Lewis, I want to say single-handedly carrying the team. Yes, he's grabbed a lot of the goals, but even when he hasn't played, we've played fairly well. But he certainly has kind of been the difference maker this year. We'll see how he gets on here. Looking at Manchester City, they're playing at home. They're playing 3-5-2, I guess, with wing-backs, unless you want to call it a 5-3-2. I guess it really depends on the role and duties of the full-backs as to how you'd interpret that formation. But we'll see how we get on here. Last time we played Manchester City, we drew 2-2. That was a pretty good result. This time we could do with getting an even better result. I think the last time we live-con me playing them, we beat them in the, I think it would have been the League Cup last season. So if we could replicate that, that would be fantastic. And yeah, we'll see how we get on here. So we're on the attack. Balotelli trying to play that direct play. Matthew Lewis picks up the ball. Plenty of options in midfield because, of course, we're playing with our 3 midfielders. Emmanuel Jesus, Sonogo making the run ahead. Sonogo available if Lewis can pick out a pass. He can't, but possession is recycled. So one of the issues I've got in my system right now is I'm actually playing with the wing-backs on defend, and I might experiment maybe towards the end of this year. What a goal that is by Emmanuel Jesus. Take a bow. 10th of the year for the loanee. But with the full-backs, what I was going to say was I don't have them set to take too many risks going forward. You know, I could put on look for overlap perhaps because they are set to wing-back defends. My big gripe at the moment is I kind of feel like when they're set to wing-back support or even full-back support, we just leave ourselves a little bit exposed and kind of counter-attackable, I guess you could say. Which is something that I kind of want to avoid at all costs, particularly as defensively we're not the strongest team anyway. But anyway, we'll see how we get on here. 1-0 up, 2 minutes in, there's another highlight. Can we double our lead, or are Manchester City about to immediately peg us back? That was a good tackle by Reitmeier. Tries to play that big ball over the top. Unfortunately, Manuel Jesus can't get there. And now Reitmeier missing a ball over the top. Zivkovic makes it 1-1, and within 3 minutes we've had 2 goals. The fans think they're in for a cracker. I hope we can win and it's going to be comfortable and I don't have to worry about some crazy game to live-con. But right now, it's 1-1. It's early days. A mistake by Reitmeier really letting them in there as the ball came over the top. Just missed his the ball, I guess. Looking at it, Sonogo taking a knock, but nothing too serious. His condition's slowly rising, so we're going to keep him on here. I have to be pretty careful, I guess, when it comes to injuries, particularly with players like Sonogo, China, Juan Carlos Leon, just because they have had their fair share of injuries. And so I feel compelled to play it safe and to kind of take them off if they do get a knock, just because it's backfired so many times before. But anyway, the game has slowed down a little bit, I guess you could say, as it is 1-1 here. And we are now in the 30th minute, almost 30 minutes without a highlight. Can a goal go in? It can. It's for Manchester City. That's not what I wanted to see. Zivkovic with a goal in off the bar. A nicely placed header, I think that would have been. I don't know if the keeper could have done a little bit better, but it barely crossed the line. Goal line technology being whacked out to determine if that one went in. And, well, I think the fact it hit the side netting might be a little bit of an indication that it did. But, yeah, that just squeezed in, and perhaps Kouakou's lack of height was an issue there, but generally speaking, that hasn't been a massive problem for us. Anyway, we're on the attack here. Pereira, China, can we bounce back immediately? Can we do what Man City did to us? Joe Allen! Of course we can. It's 2-2. And we peg them back very, very quickly. 10 minutes and we reply. And that's a really good goal to get just before half-time. You know, get momentum back on our side. It was well worked in the end. Sonogo picking out a really nice pass on the outside of his foot. Joe Allen doing un-Joe Allen-like things in terms of getting himself forward. Adds to his goal tally for the season. And he's, as I said, had a very good season, the 33-year-old. But Manchester City now trying to peg us back again before half-time. This has been the game of pegging back, I guess you could say. I guess technically they're not pegging us back because they would go ahead with it. And then Kouakou, what a save, my son. Zivkovic on the back post. Was that a chance for Zivkovic's hat-trick? It may well have been. It was. So Kouakou denying that for now. I'm going to tell the players that I'm pleased with how things are going. Away against Manchester City, never an easy fixture no matter how big or smaller team you're on the division. Looking at it, Sonogo is really struggling with his condition, but he has 2 assists. So I'm going to try and keep him on the pitch to maybe the 60th minute. But I think we're going to have to take him off sooner or later. As much as he's having a massive impact on the game, I don't want to risk injury when you consider the other games that we have coming up. Reitmeier as well taking a knock there. But he's recovering fairly quickly, so that's good to see. We've had our fair share of bad luck, I guess you could say, with injuries on this save, particularly over the last few years. Obviously, last season, Sonogo out for 6 months with a broken leg. This year, we've had Suarez out, we've had Juan Carlos Leon out. Let's make those changes I talked of. I'm making them a little bit later than planned, but Sonogo going to come in. Reitmeier really struggling, having taken a knock, so I'll bring on Scholes. And I think Batagelli, I was going to say I want to bring on Batagelli, but I don't really have the options to do that, unfortunately. I guess what we can do is we can move Kouakou to centre-back, bring on Mafembu at right-back, and then take off Batagelli and bring on Paul Scholes to play that centre-mid support role. A little bit surprising to see perhaps players struggling as much as they are. I guess we have had a fair amount of really tightly compact fixtures. The fact that we're no longer in the Europa League, I think, is going to benefit us for our run into the end of the year. Because we played a lot of the bigger teams, we've got a few easier games coming up, which I guess is a good thing. I think the next kind of massive game is against Stoke, which might sound a little bit odd, but Stoke are kind of in 5th, 6th or 7th place. They've kind of been one of the players hotly on our heels for a lot of this year, and they're the last team that we have to play in a massive game. That will be the last game of the season, so that will certainly be the next episode kind of live com game. And then of course episode 80 we'll do our standard kind of end of season review. I'll go into detail about all the squad, who's impressed me, kind of our progress as a club. And it's kind of like a board of directors meeting, I guess, or not a board of directors meeting, like a shareholders meeting, where you guys, the people who watch, the fans, kind of get filled in as to what's going on behind the scenes in a little bit more extra kind of nitty-gritty detail that doesn't necessarily come across in the videos. Although Zivkovic with an effort, who put in that tackle? Because you have just saved us. Zivkovic with a chance to get his hat-trick, not for the first time in this game, but a fantastic defensive tackle came in there, blocked the initial effort, and just when you thought the game was over, there's now another highlight. Scholes, Manuel Jesus can't find its way to Matthew Lewis, and now Seri is on the attack. What a tackle. Zivkovic, though, with the rebound, and a late sting in the tail here as Manchester City are going to make it 3-2. Zivkovic finally bagging that hat-trick that he's kind of been unlucky not to get prior, and unfortunately for us, our effort goes to waste, having kind of got back into this game, having defended for our lives. It's going to amount for absolutely nothing, because that late goal gives the 3 points to Manchester City, unless there's a late goal, but I just can't see it happening here. And that's really unfortunate. Looking at the stats, we gave them a great game. Granted, Manchester City had more chances. They probably deserved to win, but we defended well. I'm going to just tell the boys they were unlucky. On another day, we would have held out for a point there. As it is, that defeat does see us retain our 4th place and gives a chance for Liverpool, Stoke and co to kind of get back into this game. Let's just go forward. Let's see how Liverpool and Stoke get on, I guess. So Liverpool are taking on Bournemouth. Stoke don't play till tomorrow. Whereas Stoke are 3 points behind Liverpool. So Liverpool's the big game. So come on, Bournemouth. Do us a favour from 14th. Give us a chance. Or not a chance. Yeah, I guess give us a chance. Give us a lead. They can't do it. Liverpool win 2-0, so they're going to close the gap now with 5 games remaining to 5 points. It's still entirely in our hands, but perhaps there's a degree of a little bit more pressure perhaps on us now to kind of get that 4th place spot and really tie it down. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you guys for the last episode of the season. It should be a big one, depending on how tight the league is. You know, we'll see how things go. If you've enjoyed this video, of course, smash the like button. If you've got any comments with regards to the save, please leave them down below. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.